Hello and welcome to part 2 of week 3's lecture here, where we're going to be talking about our first lab. And our lab is going to be focusing on reaction time. So for this particular lab, we are going to be using the ReachDL device that you now have in your possession, having hopefully loaded your software and fooled around with it a little bit or something like that, kind of get the lay of the land on it. I'm going to show you how we're going to use this to conduct a lab where we're going to be measuring your reaction time as you see lights. We're going to be doing a lab where you're testing your reaction time to a light that appears on the device, and also there's a headphone jack, so we'll be able to also measure your reaction time to sounds. So to begin that process, basically you take your USB cord and you plug the USB-C end into the actual device, so it's like this, and then you plug this into your laptop. And I'm going to switch camera views so that you can get a look at what I'm doing down here as well. So as you can see here, I have the Reach device in front of me, and I'm going to plug the other end into my computer, USB, and you'll see that there's a light on now, and that indicates that it's on. And let's switch to my computer, and what I want to do is open up the LabScribe DL software, just like that. And what you'll see is an indicator that the hardware has been found. That's what this is, and I'm going to press OK. That's good news. And for this particular lab, what I want you to do is to go to Settings up at the top. You're going to Reflex, and then Eyes versus Ears. And what's going to happen is the lab part in the background switches to the appropriate measures. It was already there. It just reloaded a new one. And it opens up a website with the actual instructions for you to follow. So if we were going to take a look at these particular instructions, we would see that there's a setup, and it talks a little bit about the setup. And then there's exercise 1. And then exercise 2. And exercise 1 deals with reaction time based on the light, and exercise 2 is doing the same experiment except you're using sound. So the way this works is, if you look at this top corner right here, you're going to see these are buttons that play little programs called macros, and there's one that's off, and there's one visual, and one is auditory. So what's going to happen when I'm ready to do the auditory, when I'm ready to do the visual, I'm not going to do the auditory one for this demonstration, but when I want to do the visual one, I'm going to press the visual button, and it's immediately going to start recording. And so the experiment's going to start. And I'm going to hold this particular device, and when the device lights up, I have to press this little red button. So let me see if I can go into multi-screen mode here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this in such a way that you'll be able to see the light that comes on right there. And as fast as possible, I'm going to press the little red button there. What you're going to see on the screen is a recording of when that light goes on and when I press that button. It will go through 10 trials of that, and then I'll show you how to reduce the size of the graph itself so that you can see the whole waveform, and then how to measure the reaction time that I had on that. So I'm going to, as soon as I press visual, the experiment's going to start. Okay, so what you see is it did it 10 times, so I have 10 measures, and let's take a look at the graph. So what you see on this bottom row right here, this is when the light came on each time. Up at the top row is when I press the button. When you're doing the auditory one, you'll see the auditory signal. Instead of down here, you'll see it right here. So let's take the bar down here and we're going to move it all the way back. And you'll see here is the first time the light came on, and here is my reaction time. That was my button press right there. Now, in order to measure how fast I press that button, you want to take note of these two red lines right here. These are movable. You just click on them and you can move them around. They're always on the front of the screen. And what they allow me to do is I'll take this one and I'll align it to the beginning right there. See, I've lined it right there to the beginning of the light coming on. That's how long the light was on. Then I'm going to take this next one and I'm going to drag it over and I'm going to put it up here, the beginning of my reaction time over there. And this time right here, the distance between when the light actually came on and when I pressed the button is my reaction time. And that is calculated, watch the swirl, right there in the top corner. It says 190 milliseconds. I'm not sure if you can see that, but so the difference between when this light came on and when I pressed the button was 190 milliseconds. So I can go ahead and record that as my first data point. I drag this, see how the red lines are staying right where they are? I can drag this, and now we can move the red lines, move this one over here to right at the beginning of my reaction time, right at the beginning of the light, right there. And again, we see that difference, and this time it was 205 milliseconds. So what you're going to be doing is going to be doing this 3 times, I believe, getting 30 different measures of your reaction time to the light and 30 different measures of your reaction to the tone. Doing those, you're going to average those together to determine your average reaction time to the light and your average reaction time to the sound. Now, after you've completed all of those measures, you've done all 30 measures of your reaction time to the light and all 30 measures of your reaction time to the sound, you're going to produce after you've produced 30 measures of your reaction time to the light, 30 measures of your reaction time to the sound, and you got those averages, you're going to produce a lab report as it's designated in the instructions that I've included in Brightspace. Those will eventually be in the course book, but they're going into Brightspace because I'm developing them as we go along. So there's some record keeping. You have to show me your whole table, show me the average, discuss that a little bit, and then answer some questions at the end. That's all formatted with a title page, and everything that you need to know about that particular assignment is available in Brightspace. I would very much encourage you to share this with family and friends. Why should you measure you? You're the psychologist, right? Measure their reaction time. Do this experiment on people around you. Have fun with this. Show the students, show people what you're learning here in biopsych, and play around with this. We're not utilizing any of our electrodes or anything like that, so you're not going to run out of supplies. This is just basically the device, and you can do this as much as you want. And you can incorporate that right into your lab report. So have a good time with this, and I will see you on the Zoom meeting next week.